everybody. I'm going to turn on my fan. I got my tea out, so. Whew. All right. I apologize for that. I give you my sincerest apologies, which basically I'm here to grant nothing. If you know what that's from, that's a good. Then you're in check with me. You're in tune. I'll say it again. I'm here to grant nothing. No guess? Try to see if you can get it. I'll give you a minute. I'll try to think about that as I take a sip of my tea. I made it kind of. I didn't make it as hot this time. I have a better idea. If you want the perfect temperature, if I'm the man who knows the perfect temperature for a tea, um, do not wait till you see the water bubbling. That means it's boiling already. It's gonna be fucking hot as fuck. Um, when you start seeing kind of steam come out before the bubbling, that's a good indicator already. And then even a little bit before then, that's what I like to do. So that way you can actually drink your tea. You don't have to wait for it to cool down because it's a good temperature. I came up with actually an invention, an idea. I wrote it down for. I guess I'll tell you anyway. Why not? It's you go ahead and you do it. Good for you. I mean, I tried some things, and man, I'll tell you. I know Edison's first invention was a disaster, but man, he was just an inventor. You know what I mean? Like, so I guess if you're that brilliant and you persist long enough, you're bound to hit something. It's like saying, like, you don't have to be a professional dart thrower, but you give somebody enough darts and they practice long enough, they're gonna hit a bull. They just need one. Let's say you need one bullseye to win $1 million, and you've got an unlimited amount of darts, and you have like fairly good dexterity or like accuracy. If you throw them long enough, it might take you a week, but you will hit a bullseye. It's just that it's just a matter of the odds. Like how many can you throw? Just keep getting better and better, and keep throwing them and throwing them. Eventually, you'll be able to get one. Somebody told me that it's all it takes is one. Um, I'm a little disappointed. I'm watching the coins. My coin, ACH Alchemy Pay, nothing, just going down. Um, I'm already down so much it doesn't matter. Like I don't want to pull out because if it comes back and you're not in, then it's like it's good to go down. It's good to go down with the ship. Okay, my philosophy anyway. Don't But all this is vague sayings because it all depends. Like now, if you're sincerely like let's just say, I mean, it depends how much you have tied up, how much is your net worth, what do you have. So, but if you have next to nothing and you're putting everything you got into something, why? Why? I mean, I heard there was some idiot. He sold everything he owned. He came up with like $100,000. Came up with that was everything. No place to live, nothing. And he took it all to Vegas to make one bet on the roulette wheel, and he won. He doubled his money because he said, "Well, if I wanted with 200,000, I have enough to start my business, to start my life, and this and that. 100,000, I don't have enough." I think that's bullshit because 100,000. If you can't start your business, and you can find a partner. You can get a loan or something. You can that's ridiculous. He was just doing it for publicity. He got lucky, he won. So I don't know. I don't believe in that. Oh, I need this much amount to start this. People start with nothing. If your idea is good enough, you find a way. You'll find a way. I mean, it takes money to build a pro. There's people that build prototypes for nothing. For $5, they built a working prototype just to give somebody an idea of what they're talking about, and don't even can't afford to register a USPTO patent. They write something and mail it to themselves. Anything. If you're that passionate about something, you will find a fucking way. If you're that passionate about it, I mean, look, man. I mean, my script still sits on my desk where I can see it. You know, I haven't given up. It's just there's other things that deserve my priority right now and my thought process, you know. But it is kind of like a pipe dream in a way, you know. When you don't see any success, that's the kind of like what it is, you know. That's why I called this episode "As the Man Thunketh," you know, as a take on. I think there was a book called "As the Man Thinketh," so I put thunketh. I not even a real word, but I try to take the edge off, you know, the seriousness of becoming successful in life because it can be quite depressing when you don't see anything going. I was at the gym yesterday in the morning. I mean, dude, you know, I was listening to like Motivation Madness or whatever, Motivation something, and Conor McGregor. I mean, dude, he's talking about, and you see the end result. Yeah, like you know, he lost a couple fights where, but dude, you should watch the dude's training. They show his training. It's like fucking insane. The shit that he would do in the gym, on the beach, in the fucking parks, and you know, it's like a fighting machine, literally fighting machine. I mean, you just fucking there's not an ounce of fat on that guy, and everything. It's like the epitome of the circular saw. He's the epitome of it. For somebody that's like, well, I don't know what a featherweight is or light, whatever. I think he was. I don't know. Maybe was he 140 pounds, 150, out of 130, 160, somewhere in that range. But exactly, you put your hand in there, it's gone. You know, like it's going to be broken into 18 million pieces. You know, and then he'll whatever goes in, it's not coming back the same, and you will use that or it'll pull it in and take out whatever is remaining of you. So, I mean, the guy was really, really, really smart. Where to do that interpromotional, you know, thing with Floyd Mayweather because think about how much money those guys made. Oh my God, you know, and the shit talking and everything, the hype for the just one fight, and this guy's like, it must have been the easiest fucking money that guy's ever made because you know in Ultimate Fighting, you could die, literally you could die. Somebody could, you know, the you know kicks, knees, elbows, all that shit's good, you know, like wail on you and knock you out. I mean, permanent, serious, serious damage. In boxing, of course, it could happen too, but there are more rules in boxing. Boxing is more, as brutal as it is, it's still like the only thing somebody could do is punch you. That's it. You know, they can punch you. So, you know, like they're wearing gloves also. I know they're lightly, they're not, you know, the other it's not like you're hitting somebody with a fist, but you know, with the power of the gloves and everything. But still, it's all you know is that somebody is going to try to punch you in your stomach, your chest, or your face, you know, or whatever. Like it has to be above your waist. They can't use their knees. They can't. In Mike Tyson's case, he bit Evander Holyfield. I know, but you know, it's easier. It's easier than Ultimate Fighting. There's no question. I don't care if you want to argue with me. You're going to lose because it is easier. You know, to learn how to box, you know, like move around your upper body and your feet and everything like that. I'm not saying that's the easiest thing in the world, but it's a fucking a million times easier than understanding every aspect of MMA Ultimate Fighting. These guys know what is that? Those locks those guys put on. You could break somebody. You could choke somebody out. Triangle choke. You could kick somebody. Like you can do. There's a million different things you can do in MMA, and there's basically one thing that you can do in boxing. I mean, of course, there's different types of punches, uppercuts, blocks. You know, like jabs, crosses. You know, like bobbing and weaving. Yeah, it can be all decompartmentalized and everything. But whatever, as much as there is in boxing, there's 10 million more things plus in MMA. 10 million at least. At least. I mean, think about it. You know, you can. What was it? Capoeira. You know, like the fighting. It's like an African. Looks like an African dance, but it's actually a martial art. You know, where you're flipping and your legs are doing. You know, it takes tremendous dexterity and coordination, balance, and strength. I mean, to do all this kind of shit. Um, so the offer, I mean, for Conor McGregor to get into, a boxing ring, and he said it too. He goes, it's all I have to do is box, and he was very good. He put up one hell of a fucking fight, but you're up against the best in the world, man. And you know, he's lucky he didn't get knocked out. The only reason he didn't get knocked out was because, for his size, he was the best ultimate fighter in the world. So you're not, it's still, you're not going. He's just that good. So it's kind of cool, like that he held his own, in the boxing ring, and he walked away with, what was it, 9 figures? Those guys, in excess of 100 million each. It's just quite incredible. But he didn't earn that just from nothing. He worked his way up. Like that's how it works. It's like in acting. If you're bankable, you're bankable. You get paid the big bucks. They come to you. Um, I always thought they get sick of seeing you, kind of thing. But no, 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 no. When you got status, then you're like royalty, and you're treated as such. It's like being an A-list actor or actress or musician or singer. Dancer, no, no. I'm sorry. It's like it's low. If there's any dancer that has made multi millions, it's because they've either produced events, um, choreographed or something, a big show, um, or acted along with their dancing, like John Travolta on Saturday Night Fever. So, there is no dancer just known except like Barishnikov maybe, but even him, he made his money from other celebrities, or Sex and the City and stuff like that. Yeah, he made very good money as a dancer for doing stuff, but Michael Flattery, the Lord of the Dance, I think he made $1 million for his Vegas run of that Lord of the Dance, which according to Guinness World Records was like the highest paid for being a dancer, was $1 million. The Les Twins won $1 million in the world of dance. It's probably the most two guys ever made for a season of a show. When I was on Dance Fever, the grand prize was 100,000. That was in 03. Now most reality shows are a million at least. So think about that. If you're trying to make money, don't get into dancing, because you are not going to say, somebody who's a pioneer, they paved the path. Um, Good luck. I think it was Bobby Fischer that was responsible for money being put into the World Championship of chess. Um, Before him, there wasn't a lot of money in it, and a lot of money is relative. I think he commanded, like he said, it was like half a million for the winner, and like 40%, it was 60-40 split or something. And Bobby Fischer was responsible for that. I think today the World Championship is something like 1.5 for the winner and like 900,000 for the loser. So, I think the split is 65-35 or whatever. But you have to understand something. Chess is not like, I mean, it's literally, there's kids, they spent their entire life. I just told you about that one kid. He's 17. He's like the U.S. junior champion. He's 17 years old. The dude put his whole life into chess. He's badass, right? But he's like number 200 in the world. So that means you got 199 people ahead of him that are better. Temporarily, they're ranked higher. Doesn't mean he can't pass them all by, but you have to prove that. He went from 300 to 200, and we'll see how fast. Now he's 17. I mean, look at Nakamura. I mean, he's like 29 years old, and I think he won the U.S. championship a couple of years ago. It don't fucking matter, dude. U.S. championship invites you to the candidates tournament. The candidates tournament are against the 8 best players on the planet, excluding the world champion. The world champion just sits back and says, okay, well, whoever I'm going to play for the title, let's see who it is. And it wasn't him. It's not like the WWE championship where, the WWE champion is basically whoever it is, the next big thing. They gave it to him right, Brock Lesnar. They gave him the belt right away when he showed up because he was the next big thing. The whole, he was the main big kid on the block when he first showed up. And they bounce that belt around, whatever. It's a prestigious honor for a wrestler, but it's like Mr. Olympia. Well, Mr. Olympia, there's only one every year. But it's interesting because I researched this, and like Tom Platz, he was in the 80. I think he was in the 1980 Olympia, 80 or 81 also, and he felt like he should have won. He made a very good, his legs were like they're gigantic, he's like short, and Franco Columbu, who was Arnold's buddy, Arnold was promoting the 80. Arnold, I think, came back out of retirement in 1980 to take the Olympia, and Zane was fucking. He went insane, literally. He was so pissed that because Zane won it 3 years in a row, won 77, 78, and 79, and he was going for a four-peat. And what made Zane so bankable for Weider was that he wasn't the biggest dude. My height was 5'9". Guy came out like damn near close to 200 pounds, a little under, but as aesthetic as you could be. His physique. I mean, come on, man. I mean, it's like he's a naturally thin person, and I talked about this. You take a thin person and you put that muscle on them, and it wraps around the joints, and you can just see it like everything is clearly defined. I mean, it's really beautiful. That's the only chance you have against somebody that's big is your shape. You're playing separation, to where you can see everything clearly. I mean, now big person, somebody big is going to overshadow you. But if you are like Frank Zane was, you could hold your own against Arnold, which is saying something incredible. I mean, think about that. You could be on stage against Arnold back in 1980. Okay, that's I mean, okay. Arnold is regarded as the greatest, like living of all time. But even look, there were people before him, Reg Park, who Arnold admitted like was his, who looked up to him. So the greatest of all time is kind of like whatever time you relate to. Floyd Mayweather says like the best ever. How can you be the best ever? You're taken away from Dempsey, Jack Johnson, Muhammad Ali, of course. You know, it's all relative. It's all relative. It sounds nice to, doesn't Mike Tyson say to be the greatest that ever lived, you have to beat everybody living? Even that, though, you can't because those people that are gone, just taken away from, then why even have a Hall of Fame? Just have one person in it then. Why is there other people in the Hall of Fame then? Because their achievements meant something. It's like who's the greatest baseball player ever? That's a dumb thing. There's different what pitcher or hitter. You got to be very specific. I mean, Pete Rose had the most hits, but Barry Bonds has the most home runs. So, well, Barry Bonds cheated. Okay, well, Hank Aaron. So, who are you saying? Like, why is Hank Aaron better than Pete Rose, and why is Pete Rose better than Hank Aaron? Let me finish up with the bodybuilding thing first, because I moved from one thing to the next. And why is Nolan Ryan better than anything? Because he has the most strikeouts. So, but what happened was, because I moved away from Tom Platt. See, I wanted to mention that, and the point of what he did. Now, he didn't win the Olympia. I believe it was rigged. Arnold wound up promoting the '81 Olympia, and his buddy Franco Colombo came out of retirement, who he won it in '76. I had the pleasure of meeting Franco Colombo before he passed. Dr. Franco Colombo, God rest your soul. You're a very nice person to me. In your office, he signed a book to me. I'll never forget it. It was an honor to meet him, to get about 20 minutes of his time exclusively. I'll never forget it as long as I live. Thank you. Anyway, so if you look at Platts, his legs were like fucking tree trunks. I mean, Colombo was jacked. Okay, came out fucking but people say they should have given it to Platts that year. Arnold thought otherwise, and they gave it to Franco. Just as in 1980, they gave it to Arnold over Frank Zane, and Zane was so pissed. But it doesn't matter. It's a leader's show. The leader decides. The judges. I'm sure he just tells them who to pick, and that's it. Um, so anyway, Platts went on to do seminars overseas, fitness seminars and everything. Video was just coming in, and he made more money doing seminars. And I think he made $250,000 in 1 year, in like 1981 or two or whatever, which is a fucking fortune back then. So think about that. Think about that. The Tom Platts. He's still around today. He don't look like what he used to be. He even said he talked about this. He said he put 1,000 pounds on a squat rack. It said just about killed him. So he had it on his back. 1,000 pounds. Jesus Christ. I'm not built for power. I had the most I ever put on my back. I remember the Smith machine you could rack on. So of course it's different, but I did hold 315 on my back. I stepped back and I did like some half reps, and I said, this shit's just too heavy for me. It's too heavy. My knees were buckling. But I did get it on my back, for a little while, and at least I could say I held 315 on my back. To anybody that's a real lifter, of course, it's nothing. It's not. But hey, I know how heavy it is exactly. I never liked powerlifting anyway. I never liked that shit. I rather, if I had a choice, between aesthetically looking, I already talked about this. I rather look like Mr. Olympia than being able to bench or squat 1,000 pounds. That's just my own personal thing. The man thinketh, huh? Hmm. Being able to weather the life storms. I'll tell you. Um, you know, it's kind of like what's tough for me is like, I go to the gym and I work. There's this other place I'm gonna go check out. Well, maybe later. It's like a Reebok kind of gym. I'm gonna see if there's any way to join there and just be able to go in there and do my thing I want without having to take classes. I see they're teaching things and stuff, and you can talk to the right person, and tell them, look, man, I'm trying to be a world class athlete, but I know what to do. I don't need a trainer. I just need a place I can come in and grind and talk to the right person and just let them know what you're about. And think about it. If you had access to a place around the clock that you could grind, how good could you get? I was watching this guy. I think it's called ThenX, THENX. Chris something, this Asian guy. I don't. I mean, he's on YouTube. Young guy. This guy knows his shit. I saw this guy with all these tattoos. First I thought, hey, he's a retard, something like that. No, 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 no. This guy's a calisthenics master. He was doing that flag hold where he could hold his body up against a pole just with his arms, and sticking his legs out, doing plank push-ups where he's feet off the ground and he's at a horizontal angle. Fuck. When you see what these guys look like, yeah, they're not an ounce of fat on them. They're not big guys, but let me tell you something. They are strong as fuck for their size. I used to think, I don't look like nothing. I don't care what it looks like. Remember, to me, that's real strength, is being able to control every facet of your body. How many people can do that? Not many. There's dudes, I don't care how strong they are, they can't fucking uh, can't even do a pull up. Okay, maybe one. I'm telling you, like, these guys throw their body around like they control every fucking, because their core is like iron, and the core wraps around. It's not just your front abs, not just your obliques, but it's like your lower back too. I didn't realize that. I didn't realize that. You know, everybody's so focused on aesthetics of how they look, like you know, in front of a mirror with their shirt off. Of course, everybody wants to look good and stuff like that. But think about, like, if you're able to do like those plank push-ups. Oh my god! Or that flag thing where you're on the side, or being able to do a one-armed pull-up. Go ahead and just try to hang with one arm from a bar and see how hard it is. I was doing like these things in my gym. Like, you have your hands shoulder width out to pull up, and I keep my feet out, straight out, right? And then pull up. Holy fucking hell, it's hard. I had to wait till I started getting the momentum up, then I could stick my feet out. Your core has to be fucking iron to be able to do that. You gotta be fucking nails, man. It's a fucking holy shit. That's advanced level shit, dude. And you feel it too, like in your arm, like tie into your bicep, your forearm. Oh my god. That's why you see those Olympic rings. Why those guys have huge biceps, because to be able to pull on that ring, that's all buys. Just feel that, like when you're pulling on that ring, the Olympic ring. Just go to a gym and just go like this with the rings if you can, without getting off the ground. That's all buys. Fuck these like doing like dumbbell curls and shit. Go on those Olympic rings, man. And if you're not strong enough to pull yourself up, here's what I do. I take something where I can elevate my feet, so my feet are sticking out and up. Okay. Then I grab the fucking rings and just pull up and down. Try to do 20 of those. If you can't do 10, if you can't do 5, but get into that range of motion. If you can't do a pull up, work your way up. Don't worry about people looking at you and laughing at you. Or don't worry about that, because you're working. If they're laughing at you, number one, you know what they are? Okay? If they're laughing at you. In my gym, there's a sign that says no judgments, and it's big as plain as day. I don't give a fuck. I don't compare myself to anybody. And you shouldn't. You should only compare yourself to you, who you were yesterday or the day before, a week, a month, year before. And I don't care who the fuck you are. If you're a human being, you get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. Conor McGregor was saying he would go there 2 in the afternoon and not leave till 10 at night. And I'm sure he just wasn't hanging around the gym. The guy was working. And he wasn't just working to aesthetically look good. That guy was doing exercises to kill people in the ring. Okay? He was working. Who does that? The best in the world does that. The best in the world does that. Okay? Of course, they start when they're relatively young. That's true. You don't have to be trying to become an ultimate fighter to build an ultimate body. Okay? You want to build an ultimate body? How bad do you want to build an ultimate body? How bad? What are you willing to sacrifice for it? What are you willing to sacrifice for it? Because you remember, if you listen to my channel, in order to allow something in, you have to be willing to take something out. And you want to build a body that's really fucking head turning naturally, you're gonna have to take out quite a bit of shit out of your life. Yeah, yeah. You got pets. Yeah. You got a girlfriend. Yeah. You got the house. You got all these things. And you got to give up any of those things. But I guarantee there's some shit in there, a lot that you have to give up for that. The time, the energy, blood, sweat, and tears, the good quality food, all that shit costs money, man. All just to build a fucking body for who? For who? Just to show people? Or just for yourself? You're going to sacrifice all of that. Most people ain't going to do that. Now, I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. But if something means that much to you, then you have to make the sacrifice. If it means that much to you, or you'll never will get it. I can 100% unequivocally guarantee you will not get it, whatever it is. Whether it be a chess master title, whether it be building an incredible stage-worthy body, whatever it is, you won't get it. It's too hard. The sacrifice is too great. And that's why generally only relatively few amount of people have anything worth really, I mean, dude, a world-class athlete is a world-class athlete for a reason. Because they're amongst the best in the world. They sacrificed everything to become that good. And that don't guarantee you success, star power. It doesn't guarantee you that. Who's the ping pong world champion, right? Who's the 9-ball current world champion? Who knows, right? But everybody knows who Jimmy Kimmel is, or fucking I don't know, Clint Eastwood, But can you imagine how much time it took to become like a phenomenal ping pong player or archer or fucking judo? It's a lifetime. These people put in a lifetime. Now there's rarities. Dudes like Kurt Angle, for example, put in a lifetime and became an Olympic gold medalist in 1996 Atlanta Games. Many people know, who cares, right? Wrestling. But then he transitioned, went to WWE. It was WWF at the time, right before the transition. And became like one of the greatest entertainers. If he's not regarded as one of the greatest, then he should be. He was that good. He wrestled everybody, beat everybody, held the WWE Championship, also everything. So, you know, he was able to lateral from something that wasn't that popular to something, and make his money from that. Still won the gold medal though in '96. That's an immense achievement. Depends what you want out of life, but you also need to be a little practical. You're not young anymore. Remember I talked about my military story? Too old to go in? There's nothing you can do about that. Doesn't mean you can't train like a soldier though. Who's going to stop you? Why can't you get in the military absolute best shape of your life then? Why not? You're too old for them? Fuck them. They won't let you in? Fuck them. But guess what? That don't mean life is over. That means that life is over. But as long as you're here, you can still try to do other things. Why not? Why not reinvent yourself? I recommend lateraling like Kurt Angle did. But you don't, okay, you're not a wrestler. You don't have to be. But you can lateral whatever it was that your passion was that they say you not can't do it anymore because of whatever factor. You can lateral it into something you can do. Let's take Dave Goggins, Navy SEAL, right? Okay, so he's out of retired military after 21 years. Trained his ass off, became a motivational speaker, broke world records and pull-ups and stuff like that. Still works out like a maniac. He lateraled. I didn't know who Dave Goggins was when he was in the military. I know who he is now. There's ways. There's ways to use that energy. It ain't over yet. It ain't over for you. I'm telling you. Look, my whole life, my dream was to be a baseball player. I wanted that more than life itself, okay? And at 31 years old, it culminated into a one-day professional contract as a minor league baseball player. I have that contract still, framed. I showed it one time. Now, I know I'm done playing. That's like 16, 17 years ago. It's done. I applied for some coaching jobs and stuff in, universities. I never heard back. Instructional league for the Reds. Never heard. They said thanks for applying, but no. But I try other shit. Why not try other things then? Believe me, there's other things. There's other things. I mean, there's sad stories. I think there's some athlete, judo, some woman. She was like a world champion, and she just had a bad. She was in the Olympics and had a bad. She lost in the Olympics, and she committed suicide. It's an awful story. You don't always win the gold medal, no matter how much you put in. You don't always win the big fight. You show Conor McGregor, he was knocked out after all the training and everything. But guess what? He came back. Remember Rocky? Of course, it's a movie. He didn't win in the end. He did not beat Apollo Creed, but he went the distance. He did everything but win. Damn near close. But it really wasn't about that. It was about just him being able to hold his own against the world champ. And he did against Apollo Creed. It outraged Apollo Creed so much they demanded a rematch. Even though in the end, there ain't going to be a rematch. Don't want one. But Apollo Creed wanted one. Maybe they don't mention it. But yeah, there's a scene. Remember, they're in the hospital in the beginning, and Rocky goes, "Apollo, I just want to ask you, did you give me your best?" And he goes, "Yeah, I did. That's all I wanted to know." And then in the end, Rocky beat him, became the world champion. In the end of the second one, it's like a rite of passage, you know. So even if there was no sequel to Rocky, you know, it wasn't about that really. Remember, like the caption on the poster says, "His whole life is a million to one shot." His whole life. So, and I'm not a boxing fan. I'm not. I'm an underdog fan about perseverance and stuff. That's what pisses me off because I wrote a beautiful script about that. Just can't seem to find a producer that would understand. Not yet, anyway. Who knows, though? I've only gone out dancing like 10,000 nights. Never had a movie producer come up to me and says, "Hey, I'd love to make a movie about you," or something. You know, after I already got the script, it's already done. All you have to do is let me explain it to you. You know how many scripts are out there that don't get made? You get optioned? I don't know. But, you know, I believe there's a time and a place for everything. Talked about my other script too, that's more of like a Scooby Doo, about a kind of a group or like a Scooby Doo, a gang of those kids, but they're all break dancers, but they're superheroes too. Really cool story, and there's a good nemesis. Now I know the LXD, John Chu did the LXD, which was not did not carry over well. He didn't have a nemesis. Well, I created a solution to that problem, and just never had him reach out to me or anything. Met him once. I didn't have a business card back then. How many business cards I've given out? People don't call, but that's how it works. I know the guy, one of the co-writers from the movie Breaking. I don't think he's done anything since. I met him at Radiotron or like some type of street dance festival event. I knew who I was talking to. That's OG. Dude was around in 82, 83. So was I. I was just a little kid. The guy wrote a script, co-wrote the movie. That's a big, big, big deal in my mind. When these people are going to be around forever. I mean, when I met Shoka Shugi, office, you got to offer these people something. You got to bring something to the table, or else you're just a fan. You got to add value to these people. You've got to add value to these people. I'm going to say the third fucking time. You've got to add value to these people. If not, you're just a fan. They'll be nice to you, but they gotta go, man. These people are business people. If they've been on television featured, getting paid, that's what they're about. You might meet them at a show, but guess what? They charge for pictures and autographs. And there's not going to be, it'll be extremely rare to see a super heavyweight at an autograph show. I heard like John Travolta did a signing once. I mean, that's like extremely rare. He didn't do that because he needed the money. He did that as a thank you, unless it might have been sometime in the 80s when he wasn't working really. He wasn't getting work. But he ain't doing that shit now unless it's a tribute to Saturday Night Fever or something super rare. It's like rare. Sometimes these people like to give back. They like to give back because they know they're not going to be on this planet forever, and they want to thank people. I think Michael Jackson, he did a signing for the um, Invincible album in New York City at the Virgin Megastore. I saw a video of it. And he's there, he's sitting behind a desk. one at a time. People would get to come up, and he would sign the CD for them. And most of these people that got to meet him, they were just like, it was like for them meeting God. Getting like a couple, like 20 seconds of that guy's time. He's arguably the most influential artist of our time. He passed away, yeah, 10 years ago, or whatever. But I mean, what that guy did, there is no other. I don't know if there ever will be. What was it, like Bret the Hitman Hart said, the best there was, the best there is, and the best that ever will be. Um, that's a tough one because time goes. CM Punk told him to his face, that you know you were at one time, but that's over. He goes, now I am. He goes, that's good. That was great. I know McMahon loves it because he just now he steers the ship, dude. He created this thing and everything like that. He probably works his ass off to make it happen, but you know, he basically had the blueprint, like from his dad. So he took something that already existed and he modified it, and it worked. The ship almost sank when WCW gave it its runs for its money, because WCW was putting more money into better stuff, and WWF wasn't. So, and all the talent started to go to WCW, and that really really hurt WWF at the time. But there were people that stayed with WWF. That's really really important. Like the Undertaker stayed with the WWF. Triple H was just coming up. He stayed with the WWF. All the other people, all the other guys, they all lateraled. They all went to WCW, and McMahon never forgot that. Once WCW went under, I think it was bought out by Turner. Basically, what happened was Ted Turner owned TNT, WCW, and there was a he wanted to sell the channel. He wanted to sell that channel. He just didn't want anything to do with it, and so he made a package. He sold a package deal which included WCW and all the names and the licensing rights and everything, and it was fairly cheap. Um, I think it was a couple million or something like that. And Shane McMahon, I think as far as I know, Shane McMahon, he bought it. He worked the deal where he bought it, so he got back. He brought it back to WWF at the time. Like, so all the names, whatever was like with uh, WCW, he owned all of that. So what happened? WCW was disbanded. It was gone, and then all the talent came back to WWF, and the rest is history. That was, but it was called the Monday Night Wars. I never watched. I know it's you got to understand it's everything. It's all the licensing rights. If the personality doesn't own it, then the corporation owns it. So basically, WWE owns all of that. I don't think they own some things are specific, like Hulk Hogan is owned by Terry Bollea. It's his. So whenever they say that or use it, they got to pay him. Um, he made sure to get that because that was his mo. And some people look they just because he was the number one draw. So he made the most money for his time. And the thing, like the guys like that, they're not stupid, you know. But if they're just starting out, and they're just getting famous, McMahon knows. He goes, okay, well, look, I want to make you a millionaire. Who doesn't want to hear that? Who does not want to hear that? Like, I want to make you a millionaire. And so the talent guy is like, yeah, whatever you say. Because see, if they make you a millionaire, he's making deca millions off of you. But you see, it's like he built the ship. You get a first class cabin on the ship and access to the all you can eat buffet, if you know what I mean. but you do not own the ship. He does. So, you're talking about, even John Cena talks about this. He goes, I was mowing lawns, is what he said, to make money. So he worked his way up to where he was able to get a first class cabin on the ship. Now, McMahon made a fortune off of him. But what's the alternative? Mowing lawns or being on a first class vessel and then making enough, or maybe you could own your own little vessel one day. And that's what he did. How many people get signed by the WWE that never become? They get the first class thing for a little time, and it just never takes off for them for whatever reason. Guys like Ryback, for example, Intercontinental Champion. They were trying to push him. I don't know what happened. I think he got hurt or something. Chris Masters, another guy, Ken Kennedy. They were like on the way. And I don't know what happened. See, there's those people at the top. They make all the money, and they don't like competition. Dudes like John Cena, Undertaker, Stone Cold, whatever, Rock, Kurt Angle. They want to make all those top dudes want to make all the big money, and they see somebody coming up like, hey, dude, there's only so many spots at the top here, and but they got to wrestle somebody. Now Triple H was very, very smart. He married the owner's daughter, so that's a pretty smart dude, if you ask me. But he grinded away a long time. Grinded away. I remember I watched the movie Beyond the Mat, and he just kind of started, and put in a lot of time. There's a lot of guys putting a lot of time, never really took it up. But this guy, he had a combination of his character and that music and the ability to talk and the way that is charismatic and his size and everything, imposing stature. There's a lot of factors. He knows how to make somebody look really good too. That's a gift, also. Believe it or not. Not many people, they know how to do that. I've listened to that guy. If you listen to him talk very carefully, he knows. I mean, there's people that have it. He's one of them. So, never got to meet him, but he's definitely understands the business better than, one tough SOB too. Yeah, yeah. Some people put a lot of time into something and they're in something where there's nowhere to go. And that's one of my problems. I chose things that there's nowhere to go, and you had to have been very, very young when you got started. Pool, billiards, you know. Mayweather talks about boxing. Started when he was a kid. Imagine your whole life put in. My God. I think that's kind of like a curse in a way too. I mean, sure, you see what they have, and you're like, wow, look how rich. Yeah. Hey, can you believe that your whole life is just one thing and then it's over? Sugar Ray Leonard struggled with drugs and alcohol. He said he looked in the mirror and it was like he just looked himself falling apart, and he changed. Can you imagine like becoming a world champion and then it's over? You don't know what to do with yourself. That can lead to depression for a lot of athletes that work world class. You know, the money doesn't come in like it used to. You got a lot of free time. You're not, you don't get the endorsements. You know, you're not in shape. All these things psychologically can bring you down. Who wants to get? I mean, the society perpetuates getting old is like death. But getting old is part of life. It's just the way it works. But for women, it's like unacceptable. Yeah. How many times I go around, I don't see older women. There's only rarely that one club, the Lemon Drop Club, older women going out dancing. How many times I don't see women in their 30s and 40s going out dancing all the time. They don't. Because they're already married, settled down, or whatever. They're divorced, they stay home. They got their pets or whatever. They don't go out all the time. I've been going out I'm going to be 48 years old. I've been going out my whole life. It's rare to see a woman in their 30s or 40s going out by themselves. They go to a restaurant. They don't go out dancing by themselves, okay? If they do, it's rare. Everything, but there's things that are rare all the time. I remember I met Joan in China, excuse me, at the saddle ranch. Remember when she stood up? I think she was her cousin. It was a group of people. She was out on the patio. And I was there. I saw her, but I wish I could have talked to her. But my cousin was right next to me, and I said, "Listen, I just want to tell you something. I don't know who you know." And he goes, "Oh, that's my cousin." And I go, "I want to tell you something about your cousin. That what she did for that business." And I think that's all I had to say. And he goes, "She's got to hear this." And I go, "No, no, don't." It didn't matter. That he went and got her, and she turned her head. She looked at me, and she stood up. She came over to me. I remember when she stood up, she was wearing like a pink jumpsuit. I could see like she stood up, tits, and it was incredible. Like she came over to me, she wanted to hear what I had to say, and I started to tell her like I continued, and then she asked me who my favorite wrestler was, and fucked it all up. I was over at that point. Yeah. I didn't even want to say it because what she said after that really bothered me, and I don't want to some things deserve to stay between me and her. Why not? Why not? At least I feel like maybe I had that kind of connection, for a little bit. As a bodybuilder, know, which I was. Might not look like it, but if you lift and you take that much, pride in the way you look, and you might not be Mr. Olympia, but you're still a bodybuilder, okay? They just show you these people like on stage with the oil and the posing trunks and shit like that. They say that's a bodybuilder. Hey, if you're working to change your body, then you're a bodybuilder, okay? Period. You don't have to be fucking 250 pounds and mass monsters or whatever like that. That's what it is. That's just perpetuated by magazines and Joe Weider's nonsense, which did everything but sell steroids. Put all these magazines, all these magazines showing these fucking people. All those dudes are taking shit, dude. Now he's showing like trying to push his protein powder and his iron, selling all this kind of shit. He ain't selling the real sauce, my friend. And he's selling and telling you what these guys are really on. That's the magic. It's like going to see a movie, but the credits explain the real story, because that's the real blueprint. The script is the blueprint, but it's all the people behind that made it happen. The actors are actors; they get all the adulation and everything, but there's a million components, or however many people worked on the film, and each one of them has an instrumental part in making something happen. I mean, it's like if you build a ship, right? How many shipbuilders, that made it happen? One person fucks up on something, it could be a hole, the ship could sink. Or it could be worse. Remember the O-ring that blew up on the Challenger on the booster rocket? Something fucked up. There's somebody responsible for that. Faulty fucking O-ring or whatever. Remember that too. Most people don't realize those people were alive. That cabin fell back to Earth with all those people in there. And when it hit the water at like 200 miles an hour, 270, whatever, it immediately killed all those people. The impact. So it wasn't that the ship blew up. It was an impact when the capsule hit the ground. Hit the water. They didn't build the capsule with a parachute. They were not expecting the ship to blow up like that after, whatever. As you know, I will do the expose next month on 9/11. All right. I guess that's about it for now. We covered some little bits of stuff that I like to do because I believe that it's important to keep your mind open through various things, and constantly be learning. By example of successful people, but also like what you want to be, like what can you do with your life. I was carrying home my groceries and there was this homeless guy pulling his fucking luggage or whatever on wheels. And I just thought to myself, I know he doesn't live around here. He's a homeless, whatever. How do you know? Let's just go along with what I'm trying to say for a minute. And I walked by that guy. He stopped. I just kept going with my groceries. He stopped on the sidewalk, like he had nowhere to go. He's just there. I had my groceries. I had to get home because I had to have something to eat. And I said this I didn't want him to hear it. I said to myself as I kept walking, like, you have like no business being around here. You got no business being around here, is what I said. I said that, I thought about that. You know, when I used to go to Bel Air, I told you I put my resume and some high end celebrities in the mailbox if I could. So if you don't live around there, you got no business being around there. I went in there, deliver the resume, and get the fuck out of there. That's the business that I had there. I'm not casually walking around of it. That's what a bum does, unless you live around there. And that's what that guy was doing in my area. He's going no place. He's going nowhere. Why are you here? You have no business being here. And it's just like me.
You don't see me hanging around Bel Air or Beverly Hills without a purpose. You have no business there. If you're going through to get someplace, keep moving. But it's like these bums that I see in my, they have no business being here. You shouldn't be here. Just like I shouldn't be where I don't belong. And that's the way it is. Okay, that's why they have security in the lobby of these places, or outside the perimeter and stuff. Because there's no hanging around. If you got no business being around, then you shouldn't be there. That's the way it works in society. I'm sorry. Everybody's equal. Everybody's no. You know what? They're not. Not everybody's equal. I'm gonna educate you about life. Some things that they're not gonna tell you, but I will. People of power, celebrities, whatever, not whatever. They are protected people. They are royalty. I'm going to say that again. They are royalty in this country. We don't have a king or queen, but we have royalty. And those people are treated as such. They are protected. Academy Awards. They are protected. And when you're hanging around, you have no business near these people, you are considered suspicious. And you are possibly threatening their safety. And that's like a threat. You don't know who you are. If you're hanging around, that means you want something. You need something. What does need convey usually? Lower social status. What is lower social status? A bottom feeder, a bum. Now, if you work for some of these people or whatever like that, yeah, you might be lower on the totem pole, but you have a right to be. But if you're just bumming around, that's what like paparazzi do. They're leeches. That's what paparazzi are. Trying to get a picture, they don't give a fuck personally about the celebrity. They just want pictures of them. They have nothing to offer them. They're trying to make some easy money so they can survive. But there's only a handful, literally, of people that have that kind of value in Hollywood. A handful, a couple handfuls that are in entertainment. They'll never go hungry. I mean, that's one thing. There's a lot of people never will go hungry. But, they have to, they're being constantly hounded and bombarded because they have power. They have status. They're promoted real well. Bankable. So not everybody's equal, my friend. Much as we talk about equality, you better wake up to the reality of life. I watched a really cool thing on YouTube. It was the 1936 Olympic Games. Some of the highlights, in Berlin. And I knew it was going to be a little hard to watch because, I'm Jewish, and that was not a good time for my people. But it was important. I wanted to see how Jesse Owens was treated and what he did exactly. course, we know that Hitler would not shake his hand after winning the 100-meter dash, most prestigious race generally. And the media fucking came down on Hitler real hard, and good for that. And as Jesse Owens won the second gold medal, the third medal, the crowd rallied behind Jesse Owens. It was like an outrage to the Nazis, you know? But the people backed Jesse Owens. It was incredible, great. And I forget the name of the long jumper. It's very important. Jesse Owens wound up winning that event too. There's video footage of like a German long jumper, his competitor, walking arm in arm with Jesse Owens after Jesse Owens beat him. There's video footage of that. Him taking pictures with him. The ultimate sign of sportsmanship. You would think like a German competitor with no fucking way. There's plenty of pictures of showing this white guy, a German guy with Jesse Owens right there. Unbelievable act of humility and sportsmanship. Incredible. Incredible. There was a story that the fourth gold medal that Jesse Owens won, it was a relay. And there was supposed to be two Jewish guys. And the Nazis would not have it. They would not have them running in the race. So Jesse Owens and his partner filled the slot for that. And even Jesse Owens said, like, you know, it should have been the Jewish guys that shouldn't have been able to compete. But anyway, Jesse Owens wound up winning the fourth gold medal. Incredible, you know? Incredible history. Awful time, you know, after that for my people. Went through the Holocaust and everything, like my grandparents. But it's important to know that these things did happen, and it's important to know that, you know, that he was defeated. Yep. The Hitler, you know, the Nazi regime, those, you know, we say in my country, and my people say never again, you know. And I kind of think about that, you know. Eisenhower said, beware of the military industrial complex. Even Eisenhower said that. Kind of like worried that they brought that ideology here, you know. Just like, in a way, China brought COVID here. Something to think about. So think about that as a narrative, as the man thinketh, thunkith. Think about, you know, some things. And we're going to really open this up on when I do my 9/11 expose next month. The whole idea is to open up your mind to think of what goes on, why things go on, and why things are the way that they are. Anyway, I got to get ready to go to the gym. That's what I do. I'm not there just to kind of maintain. I'm there to make extreme progress through extreme effort. I'm not getting any younger. I want to challenge myself. I want to be the absolute best, get it? Absolute best in everything that I do for myself, not to show off for people, to show off for me. For me. I remember I saw this chick one time. There's this place called Brick. So, you know, I think that you gotta, it's classes only and stuff like that. It's like CrossFit training and stuff. But this chick was jacked. I know she was on stuff for sure. She had to be. Wow. But I just remember she walked by and I was like, whoa, Jesus. I'm not using that kind of stuff, dude. I can't because I think like It'd probably give me a heart attack, just genetically. I'm not designed to use gear like that. Some shit over the counter. You could try Tribulus. That's a natural testosterone booster. Some stuff to be safe with. But stay away from the dangerous shit. It ain't over the counter, number one. It's that prescription stuff, dude. No, no, no. I remember, I talked to this woman, and she wanted to compete in these NPC contests. All these women, they're all on Anivars. Yeah, they're all on. Yeah, that's right. So you don't have to be. You don't have to do the show. I mean, you want to do the show so bad, do it without it. Yeah, you're not going to win, but realize who gives a fuck. You're not going to be Miss Olympia, okay? So what? I know this one chick that won the Miss Toronto contest. She's got 4-stage cancer right now. She's 50 years old. Okay? Is that where you want to be at 50? Or would you rather still have your health? And so what? Think about that. Price to pay for all that shit. Important, is the good food and the training, not the drugs, not being on stage, comparing yourself to these people that are taking all this shit. I know it's like a natural Olympia. All these guys are all on shit. That ain't fucking natural. You think you're fooling here? Nonsense. This dope. This one guy's a nutrition store not far from me. Hangs outside there sometimes. Kind of big, It's all from taking growth hormone and stuff. That shit ain't from fucking training, dude. Dumb fucking idiot. I've been around. He's probably a little older than me, but still, I've been around that game as long as that's all from taking, dude. Stupid. A lot of stupid out there. Remember, bigger doesn't mean smarter, don't mean better, okay? Society may say that. But that's not the case, okay? Don't let society infect or affect you. That's what it is. They don't know, okay? Anyway, that's all for now. I hope you came away with a little something from this episode. Keep thinking, keep training, and keep believing. That's it,